We are live. This is Emil Fisher with another special episode of the BCTL Podcast. Today, I have Nicolas Caggia. I pronounced that right?
Yep, Nicolas Caggia, actually. Yes, no problem.
Awesome. So I got Nicolas on here. Nicolas is a longtime grappler. When did you start grappling, Nicolas?
I started a class in May 15th of 1999 at Lou Venter World BJJ in Garfield, New Jersey.
So you've been training, you and I have been training for about the same amount of time.
Oh, wow. Small world.
21 years is no joke, man. So I know that you enter a lot of catch wrestling competitions. You wear a singlet very often when you compete. Do you have a background in wrestling as well?
Yes, I wrestled 2 years for Clifton High School in my junior and senior year. That's about it for wrestling. I did other sports before that too as well. And I'm going to say, honestly, the hardest sport I ever did in my life was very easy before wrestling was swimming.
Yeah, swimming. I've heard that it's a very, very tough sport.
Yeah, I couldn't swim to save my life, honestly.
Now, you have been competing in grappling and in jiu-jitsu for a very long time, and you've competed against some truly elite level opponents. Tell me about some of your favorite matchups that you've had, some of your biggest name opponents that you've gotten to go against.
Well, of course, I gained the pleasure to compete against Tom DeBlass at Kasai Pro Grappling last year. That was a great honor, especially getting on that card of Kasai was an awesome honor too as well. It's not easy to get on it.
Yeah.
It was good to go against him. I think he was one of my favorites because he had a little different game plan, I'm just going to say. But it was good to go against him.
Yeah, I mean, what are some other ones you've had? I know I was looking at your at YouTube. I just looked you up on YouTube today to see who you've gone against, and the list of names that I saw in there was crazy.
Dan DeBlass Severn was another good one because we had a similar style. We all both liked the body locks, and then we were going for it the whole 3 5-minute rounds, and it was a great match. I enjoyed it too.
For sure. We got Carmine Zochi on here. He's saying, I've competed against Nick. What's up, Big Nick?
Hey, Carmine. How you doing, sir?
So one of the questions that I had before this started from Matt Kaplan, he reached out to me and he asked me to ask you. He said that he ran into you at the ADCC trials, that you were warming up, and then you never wound up competing. What wound up happening? Do you mind sharing that with us?
Sure, no problem. I had like a stomach virus, to be honest with you. I mean, okay. I didn't feel that well. I mean, I was like, I'm going to be honest. I mean, I had to go. I mean, it wasn't feel well in my stomach. I was like,
gotcha. What happens. We don't need more details on that.
Yeah, so, I gotta be honest. Yeah, I had a major stomach bug that day.
That sucks, man.
I sometimes get that here and there a lot.
Oh, that's no fun. So when you compete, and you've really competed against some huge names like DeBlass. I know you competed against Severn, who is a former UFC champion. You competed against what's his name? Bruno Bastos, who's
back in 2010 in Tachi Palace. I remember that match well.
Yeah, you've had some crazy matchups. Now, when you go into those matchups, what's your mindset? Do you go in there thinking you're going to win? Do you go in there not thinking you're going to win? How do you talk to yourself before the match?
Well, I always say this all the time. I say, whatever the outcome is, your winner just showing up, stepping on a mat, and having fun. And I enjoy so much going against bigger names. It really gives me a good challenge.
Yeah, I got a lot of respect for that. You know, I don't know much about you, to be honest with you. But, you know, having looked that up and having seen the caliber of the opponents that you go against and seeing that you're always putting yourself out there and always making the effort to show up to competition, that's huge. Oh, Josh Leduc is pointing out that you beat Matt Mitrione. Can you tell us a bit about that?
I was back in Chicago 2013.
What tournament was that?
NAGA.
Okay, very cool. So what kind of a strategy do you have against somebody like Mitrione, such an elite level athlete?
I was actually going a lot of upper body locks and kind of like whenever I was ahead, just stalling a bit. But then I'm gonna be honest, I had another match with him after, and I ended up losing by a lot. But the first match, I was just playing a smart game plan, like not taking risks, like go for the upper body locks and try to push him around or tire him out or stuff like that.
Very cool. When you go to
Use my weight, of
competition,
course. I meant, yeah.
yeah. When you go to submission grappling competitions, um, is your do you try to submit your opponents, or are you mostly trying to, um, hold them down and win on the points?
Be honest with you, I try to hold them down and win on the points. If the submission is there, I'll take it, depending how risky it is. But I go for like the simple catch can wrestling submissions, like the neck crank, key lock. They follow through in the Kimura or the north south choke.
Okay. Now you train with K Dojo, right?
Correct. Yeah.
How did you get linked up with K Dojo, and what are some of your thoughts on the way that they teach versus other academies that you've taught at?
Well, I could tell a story how we met. I met Master K at the airport when we were going to Grappler's Quest to Tachi Palace 2010. We happened to be on the same flight and we started talking. Then I decided to actually cross train with him, and I was also training with Eddie Rowland at that time. I don't know if you heard of Eddie Rowland.
Eddie, I have heard the name. I don't know much about him.
Yeah, I was training with Eddie Rowland for a long time with that, but also I was cross training with Eddie Rowland and Master K at that time too, as well, and of course going to Taekwondo with Master Farouk Mahmoud Sheikh as well. Who I always been with since 1997.
Okay, so so. When did you start your martial arts journey? I know you said you started your jiu-jitsu or grappling journey in '99. When did you start doing martial arts?
I started doing Taekwondo. I know the exact date. My first class was June 15th, 1997.
That's awesome. I wish I remember the first dates of classes that I took. But I
I
also
got good
started
memory
as a
with that
kid.
stuff. Yeah,
Yeah,
I got good memory with that stuff as well. I know.
that's awesome.
Thank
That
you.
is awesome. Now, when we were preparing for this, you mentioned that you wanted to talk about some upcoming stuff you got coming up. Tell me about what you got coming up.
Well, I'm looking to compete in a Michigan Open Sambo tournament, July 25th in Michigan, and hopefully that'll be my first one. But of course, I want to do Niagara, Rhode Island, June 27th. Well, due to the COVID-19, it's kind of hard. I don't know if it'll go
Yeah.
on.
Are you doing any training right now during this time?
For what involving grappling?
Just in general, what are you doing to stay in shape?
Oh, I've been training in my basement a lot. I've been doing a lot of treadmill minutes. I've been doing anywhere between like 75 minutes to sometimes 99 minutes on a treadmill. And I
Okay.
would follow it by like either 5 or 8 sets of 10 of push-ups, and followed by some burpees and wrestling sprawls and Hindu squats and crunches, lots of crunches. I do like about 500 crunches on a basic, on average basis.
Gotcha. Now, this is going to be kind of a tough question, but I feel like your answer to this is going to be really valuable to any young up and coming competitors watching. So
Sure.
I'm going to ask you if you're not comfortable touching on this, we're not going to go. We're not going to take it any further. But I kind of want to know a little bit about your grappling mindset. You go into some of these matches, especially like the bigger matches, and maybe you lose sometimes.
I don't mind.
How do especially like in a match, like for example with Bruno Bastos or with Dan Severn, when you lose something like that, how do you frame that to yourself as motivation for the next one?
Well, I would try to go back to school, train harder, and just because I'm always happy that I always, as long as I try to stay healthy, I just keep moving forward.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. I mean, it's amazing the level of competition that you've stepped up against. I know a lot of people are scared to go out there and compete when they're up against such amazing odds. And you go out there and you put on a show. I mean, you do a really good job against really good guys.
I really appreciate that, Emil. Thank you.
For sure, for sure. So, what else do you have coming up? Is there anything else on your horizon that you're eyeballing?
Absolutely. I have a catch can wrestling match with Chris, the Stockton Strangler Crossan in England for the third time.
Okay.
We fought twice before, and both matches were a draw. The first one was 3 12-minute rounds to a draw, and the second one was 3 5-minute rounds to a draw.
Awesome.
This
Awesome,
time
man.
I'm going for a third time, and I'm gonna post on Facebook somewhere down the line to call it the final chapter with me and him, I believe.
Yeah, for sure, man. Now you said you've gone against him before. How did the prior matches go?
I'm gonna be honest. It was a very boring match because there was no takedowns. None of us hit the floor. We were just going for tie-ups repeatedly over and over again. And I was kind of afraid to engage with him a bit because I thought he had some sneaky stuff down his sleeve. So I would just look for the tie-up, and if it wasn't there, I was bailing out. To be honest, but I think I should have went for more, just risk it. But I was afraid I was gonna get caught in a slick submission.
Yeah. Now the result of those matches, what are some things that you've taken from them that you're using to prepare for the next one?
Well, I know it's like submissions are now everywhere, no matter where, even standing up too. Especially with the catch wrestling stuff, it's very sneaky. Good
Yeah, for
stuff too,
sure.
and very effective.
Are you worried about that from him?
For Chris Carlson, yes.
Gotcha. Do you, when you prepare for matches, do you do any tape study as
Absolutely,
far as?
yeah. Yes.
Gotcha. What kind of tape study do you do? Are you watching the opponent? Are you watching for their wins or for their losses?
Both, everything. And also I look at the matches. I even have my coach look at it with me, Master K, as well. And he goes over a strategy for me, what's a good game plan, what's not a good game plan. And I do a lot of privates with Master K, of course, and Master Farouk as well, my Taekwondo teacher. I always rely on my favorite game plan is always conditioning. Being conditioned is good, but it's been a struggle for me lately. I gotta be honest.
I know you're pretty high ranked in Taekwondo. Is that right?
Absolutely, yeah.
Do
The
you,
last
do
couple of
you,
years, yes.
do you use that a lot in your grappling? Like, do you use any of the skills or the components from that for grappling?
Just the conditioning, because the conditioning in Taekwondo is pretty tough. We hop a lot on our feet. We're always on our balls of our foot.
Awesome. The other thing that I know you do a lot more catch wrestling matches than a lot of guys out here. What are some of the key differences or I guess, in the conflict between catch and BJJ?
Well, catch wrestling, if you're on your back, you're pinned for 1, 2, 3. That's why I always look for the pinfalls. I won most of my matches by pinfall in catch wrestling, I know.
Right. I mean, that's a strategy. If you can win by that, then, what are you going to do? Go on. No, you were going to say?
Yeah, I was going to say, catch wrestling, you can't be on your back that often unless, depending on a body type or what the person's comfortable with. Some people have sneaky stuff from the guard. The guard game is becoming a great game plan I see nowadays in BJJ. And also catch wrestlers use it sometimes too if they have something up their sleeve.
Yeah. Now, the other thing I was going to say, if you wrestled in high school and you're doing some catch wrestling now, how similar are the two sports as far as catch versus wrestling?
You mean folk style wrestling?
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of brutal holds in catch wrestling. That's to be honest. The way you could clasp your hands, everything's legal in catch. In high school, we weren't allowed to clasp our hands like from the referee's position, like in catch wrestling you could. That's why I do a lot. I clasp my hands a lot, and I look to grind the guy out with the elbows too when I'm on top.
All right. Where did you learn your catch wrestling?
Well, that's a tough one. Actually, I learned from Endgame. Raymond Caracas from Endgame, who's actually, I can't pronounce his last name. I'm sorry about that. I have him on Facebook. He's good. He's a friend of mine from Endgame.
Okay. All right. And as far as the development of competitive grappling over the past few years, I know that there's been a lot more opportunities that have arisen. What are your thoughts on that? What are your favorite rule sets to compete under?
Well, I know my least favorite. I'm gonna be honest, is the submission only because I'm not the type of guy that could last a lot of minutes in matches. But my favorite
Yeah.
rule set is always Naga.
Naga?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm a big
How
fan of
many,
Naga.
how many of the belts do you have?
Total I have 61.
61 Naga belts?
I know 61 belts altogether.
How many Naga belts?
Oh, Naga belts, probably have about 47. 47.
Jesus. I'm sitting pretty at 6 belts, that's crazy. What's your
Yeah,
favorite
47 Naga belts, and altogether I know I got 61.
what's your favorite belt that you've ever won?
That's easy. I gotta say the catch wrestling belt from the catch wrestling worlds in 2014 at the Javits Center.
Awesome, man. That's great. So what else do you want to talk about today? What you got going on as far as, what are you doing for work these days?
Well, I've been working for my family business with my dad since 2002. My dad's a landlord and he does plumbing, heating, and air conditioning. And we actually been buying a lot of two-family houses.
Okay. And has the fact that, there's this issue now with the economy, has that been a strain on your business?
Definitely not. I've been working a lot now, actually. I mean, I've been working like from 7:30 and coming home like around 5 or 5:30. So I'm pretty
Okay,
happy
so
that we're
long
staying
day.
real busy.
Long days. Um, so what for you was the toughest match that you've had in competition? Like if you had to pick one where you had to work the hardest, win or lose, what was it?
Oh, it doesn't mean if I lost or if I win, or it doesn't matter.
I mean, which one required the most effort on your part?
Well, it's easy for the one that I had to win was the one I did at the Catch Wrestling Worlds at the Javits Center. I fought a guy that was about 140 pounds. His name was Phil Carcappa. I don't know if I pronounced it right.
Okay.
Yeah, he was actually the match lasted 25 minutes, and I was taking a lot out of me, and he kept coming after me toe to toe repeatedly, and then I got the pin at the last minute.
That's awesome. We got a question from Matt Levy. He's asking, how does your prep differ for Sambo where chokes aren't allowed?
Well, Sambo, I mean, my favorite thing like to do for stand up is like try push the guy out of bounds, like get some points, because you get a point if you push him out of bounds, like a sumo drill. That's why I always look for grappling as well.
Okay. So
You
you
try
like
to
the
beat
push
the
out
wrestler in
rules?
the beginning.
Yeah, yeah. So you like the push out rules?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I'm a big fan of that because I feel like I'm in control. Most of the times, if I can push the guy out of bounds, get a little timeout, just play him, feel him out.
Do you watch grappling or do you just compete in it?
We mean on YouTube?
In general, do you watch matches? Like
Um, I-
for fun?
for fun, I like to watch UFC, but for grappling, not really. I actually just like to. Actually, if it's my opponent competing, I'm going against, I will watch a lot of tapes on them. Honestly, 100%.
Right. Now, I'm talking about more like recreationally. Or do you consume stuff like EBI or Kasai or any of these super shows that are coming out?
Uh, yes, I actually watch. If it's like a good grappling match, I'll watch it.
Who are some of your favorite grapplers to watch now?
Andre Gaval.
Andre Galval. Yeah, Andre is still a beast after all these years.
Oh yeah, I'm very. Oh yeah, he's one of my favorites actually. Andre Gaval, he's phenomenal.
What do you think of his recent match against Felipe Pena?
That was worth every penny. They were going toe to toe.
Yeah, for sure. So you said you like to watch a lot of UFC. Who are some of your favorite fighters to watch?
Well, I'm going to go way back in the early UFCs. I don't know if you remember this guy, Paul Varlos. He's one of my favorites.
I know who Paul Varlans was. I know that he was on a tear until he ran into Marco Huas.
Oh yeah, he was one of my favorites. I really liked his stinker strategy, and he was a big guy. He inspired me a lot. I mean, he didn't care. He would just fight for no matter what the situation. He moved very well for a big guy.
Yeah, he moved like a cat. He was very tall, wasn't he? He was like 6'9", I think, or something like that.
He was like 6'8", honestly, and about 350 pounds when he competed. I have him on Facebook, so I follow his posts. It's very inspiring sometimes.
Have you ever gotten to train with him?
No.
Who are some of the heroes that you've gotten to train with? Some guys that you've gotten to train with that you watched when you were younger.
For seminar,
just training
well,
with. It's amazing in the sport how you have access to these kinds of people.
Yeah, on Facebook. Yeah, but I mean, I always like to go train with Master K. He's a great guy. He helps me a lot with my conditioning and my techniques. He's one of my favorites, honestly.
That's awesome, man.
And of course, Master Farouk, who I've been with since 1997. He helped me a lot. He's always with me. He's always there for me too, as well.
Tell me a bit about the crossover between Taekwondo and Jiu-Jitsu. I know that a lot of Jiu-Jitsu guys look down on Taekwondo, but I don't think that's necessarily fair, because I think that a lot of the footwork, a lot of the strategy that you can see in Taekwondo is translatable to grappling.
Absolutely, yeah. Of course, you have to so the footwork is really tough, like the pivoting and everything. And I always stick with basic stuff in Taekwondo when I compete, like the roundhouse kick and the punches. I have pretty good punches, people say.
Okay. What's the highest accolade that you've reached in Taekwondo?
Well, I'm currently a second-degree black belt in Taekwondo right now.
All right.
And I got it back in 2019, I meant.
Gotcha. As far as competitively, like what are some of the biggest competitions that you've competed in Taekwondo?
Well, I did the Manchester Grand Prix in Manchester, England, actually 2 days after I fought Chris Crossan back in 2019 when I went to England in May.
Oh, man, that must have been a crazy week for you.
Oh, yeah. 2 days after I fought Chris Crossan, I was scheduled to compete at the Manchester Arena, and I competed in one match in Taekwondo, and I lost my first match. I got murdered badly by a guy from Rwanda.
At least you got there. At least you got to compete on that stage.
It was. Oh, I'm very happy. Yeah, I was very happy. I was safe. I got home safe. That's what counts.
For sure. Have you had other moments where you did a competition and then a couple of days later did something else?
Oh, yes, I did. I gotta try to remember with my memory. Yes, let me see. I did actually in Massachusetts. Actually, I did a Taekwondo tournament on Saturday, and I did like 3 matches or 2 matches on Taekwondo, and then the next day I drove to Pennsylvania to do a Sambo tournament.
Wow!
On Sunday, it was the Rise Sambo tournament. I just remembered. Yeah. I had 5 matches in one day in Sambo that day.
Wow.
And I won 2 out of 3. I mean, 2 out of 5. I'm sorry. Yeah.
What's the most exhausting style of grappling?
Most exhausting style, probably the submission only I did at the Good Fight a couple times.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean it's tough if you don't go for submissions, or if you don't like to go for submissions, and then you do a sub only. It can be very difficult.
Oh yeah, it wears you out. Like some guys actually will let you beat them up a bit, and then when you get tired, it's like so mental.
Mm-hmm. That's my
situation a couple times.
Yeah, for sure. Are there any promotions that you want to compete on when all this stuff comes back?
Yes, I want to actually compete for NAGA, of course, and I want to do a couple of Good Fight tournaments to get some work in and work on my weaknesses as well. And I definitely want to do that Sambo tournament in Michigan. I don't think it'll be canceled because it will happen. And of course, okay. And of course, my match with Chris Cross in England, I'm planning on October 3rd.
Gotcha.
And
what were you saying?
I was going to also do the ADCC trials in New Jersey, November 7th.
Nice. What do you think of Naga now? I know Naga's now doing super fights. Have you done any of those yet with Naga?
No, not yet.
Is that one of your goals?
Yes.
Do you have any specific opponents that you want to face off against at a Naga?
I gotta say, I would like to go against. Honestly, I don't mean to call anybody out, but I'd like to go against Brian. I would like to do a match with Brian Sheehan. Actually, he's my. Yeah, I'd like to do a match with him. Actually.
Yeah, I know who that is. He's a good dude. I think that'd be an interesting matchup.
Yeah, he's got a great conditioning routine. I see all the time on Facebook. It's very impressive.
For sure. Do you find that being a physically larger, more imposing competitor, do you find more difficulty going against smaller, stronger opponents or bigger, stronger opponents?
Well, there's always a game. Well, it's hard to say because sometimes it depends what the even smaller opponents have some strength too. You never know.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but never. I always say to myself, never judge a book by its cover.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. So as far as dealing with a much smaller opponent who's still strong, what's your favorite strategy to deal with somebody like that?
Um, I would try. I work on my. I would go for snap downs a lot. Snap downs. I try to snap them down, push them out of bounds, try to wear them down. Use my weight as always.
Gotcha. Um, would you ever compete at like an IBJJF tournament or something like that?
IBJF. We mean like sanction?
I mean, like going to like the IBJJF New York Open or Nogi Pans or something.
Honestly, no.
Well, the reason I'm asking is because it seems like that rule set is more points heavy because they have the advantages and then they also have the points. So you get more rewarded for the things that you're doing.
Yeah, but I mean, I just figure. I do that. We have that same rule set actually with Taekwondo. Actually, but it's different discipline.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
What is your training philosophy? Like, how do you, when you're training, how do you like to approach it from like a mental level?
I would take. I like make sure I get a lot of cardio in all the time when I'm training. That's my. I always like to go for a lot of cardio and conditioning and learn some
Gotcha.
technique.
Yeah. So like when you're training at the gym, are you trying to find training partners that are slightly less skilled than you that you can kind of beat up on a little bit? Like I know I've heard a lot of high level guys talk about that, how they like to find that athletic blue belt to work their submissions on. Or do you like to go get roll with really high level grapplers?
It doesn't matter actually. I actually would rather go against an athletic guy that can move around because he'll tire me out and that'll get my conditioning up.
Yeah, for sure. Conditioning is super important. Are there any tips that you can give to somebody watching that wants to develop their conditioning?
Um, well, like when I'm on a treadmill, I would do like 2 minutes walking and next 2 minutes running, and then 2 minutes walking and same thing and repeat and like mix up my speed routines intervals.
Very cool. Very cool.
And also, what else was I gonna say? It's always good to mix up like the intervals, and that's like to confuse your body.
Yeah, I feel like grappling does a lot of that for you naturally.
Yeah.
You'll go from attack, defense, defense to attack. Do you find that
mix it up? Yeah, mix it up. Absolutely, yeah.
Now I know you've done a little bit of MMA or striking, right?
Yes, I did a couple at the Underground Combat League in the Bronx, New York.
Okay. Did you like it?
My honest opinion, I got KO'd twice pretty quick.
Okay.
But it was a learning experience. But I took the fights on 1 day notice.
Yeah, I respect the hell out of the fact that you're willing to step up like the way you do so often.
The last one I did was honestly in February 2012. I got knocked out like in 10 seconds, and then I never came back since in that MMA thing. But it was an experience. I should not. I should not have got involved, but I was happy I tried it.
Yeah, listen, I mean, a lot of people don't have the guts to step out into that MMA cage. I don't. I'm not
I don't
about
think
that.
I definitely don't have any plans to step in the MMA cage again. Definitely not. It's really
Okay.
a tough situation. I'm 40 years old now. I know. I mean, I don't think I could get into that again. I've been KO'd a couple times in Taekwondo as well.
Oh no. Now, as far as stepping out into some sort of an environment like that last minute, do you get nerves? Like, do you get nervous when you're going out? You also do it with matches too. Like you took that Tom DeBlass match last minute. Do you get
Yeah,
nervous?
I was actually very excited to go against him, to be honest, and I was very nervous. Yes, I was. True.
Now, are the nerves? Are you worried that you're going to get hurt or that you're not going to perform well? What do the nerves stem from?
Worried I'm gonna get hurt, but I always think safety first when I'm gonna compete. And the other thing is, I use my nervousness as energy in a match.
Nervous energy. That's powerful.
Because I always use when I'm nervous, I always feel like I'm gonna use that as energy. But I always think one thing: safety first, all the time wherever I compete.
For sure. For sure. Now, as far as your training regime goes, when you're at the gym, when you have your normal training routine going, are there any pieces of advice that you have for the new grappler as far as like how to develop that sort of a routine?
Well, I say this, like when I'm at the gym and I'm tired, I say I'm gonna, instead of not running, I'll just walk. And instead of like, like I go like I keep my pace moderate too sometimes when I'm very beat up. Sometimes after like when I'm done doing conditioning at grappling, I'll go to a gym and do like a 30-minute workout light at the gym to follow up and then go and stretch good after.
Yeah. Now you said that you like watching MMA. Did you see that card this past Saturday?
Absolutely. I was very impressed with that stacked card.
What'd you think? Any of the fights stand out to you in particular?
Absolutely. Alexei Olenka versus Fabricio Verdum. I enjoyed every minute of that fight. And I fought Alexei Olenka twice in a grappling match
Oh wow. How'd you
back in
do?
2010.
That's awesome. I liked when
In
he hit
one
that
day.
addition.
In one day. One day, yeah. I
Yeah.
got beat. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, that's awesome. I mean, he's an amazing fighter.
Absolutely.
What'd you think of the decision in that fight?
Well, I'm gonna be honest with you. At first I thought a slight chance it would get to Fabricio Verdum, but I saw the damage that Olenko done on the striking, so I think I respect that. Could have gone either way, because I saw that even after Fabricio Verdum took him down in the last round, Olenka came back in the last 15 or 20 seconds and hustled and started and tried to do some damage, and he did.
Yeah, I thought that was a really good fight. I appreciated Olenek's willingness to grapple.
He inspires me a lot too. At 42, he's still ranked number 5 in UFC right now. That's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, he's had how many fights?
85.
Jesus. He's had 85 fights and he's still out there going toe to toe with the best.
Those are the type of fighters I really like. Like, look at Travis Fulton. He had like maybe about 398 fights or 400, and he retired not too long ago. I think. I don't know if you heard of Travis Fulton.
I have.
He's like the Iron Man. He had like about maybe almost 400 fights.
Yeah, another one that was like that was Dan Severn.
Oh yeah, Dan Severn had about 170 fights, something like that too. Yeah, he was like ranked number 3 or 2.
It's amazing. Do you have a favorite all-time fighter?
All time is easy. Ken Shamrock, the pioneer.
Ken Shamrock. Well, funny, interesting, but true. I kind of have a lineage to Ken. One of my coaches, Sean Doherty, used to be in the Lions Den.
Oh, yeah. He's a good friend of Joel Bain. He was Joel Bain's coach. I know he is. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, it's amazing how small the sport is still.
Absolutely.
What did you think of the two stoppages in the title fights that night? Are you still with me, Nick?
Well,
Yep, I'm here.
yeah, I'm
You're
here.
breaking up. You're pixelated.
Yeah, I put on the floor. I put on the table. Okay. Can you see me?
You're very pixelated.
All right. Let me see what I can do. Uh,
Try leaving and coming back. While you do that, I'm going to run through the schedule. So for anybody interested in tuning in to future episodes, oh, you're back.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay.
Okay. So anyways, what do you think of the stoppages in the 2 title fights on Saturday night? Tony Ferguson and the Henry Cejudo one.
I think the Ferguson I understand because he was taking a beating. I saw too. Good job by Herb Dean.
Yeah. What about the Dominic Cruz stoppage?
I didn't see that one. I think I missed that one because I was like wrapped up with something. But I just saw the bits of. I mean, after 10 o'clock, I didn't really watch much because I thought I had to pay for it.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, because I thought was UFC on for free or I don't know.
No, it wasn't on for free.
Oh, okay, because I haven't watched the preliminaries. I meant, but I saw the highlights of the Ferguson and Caggia stoppage, and I see that was good stoppage by Herb Dean.
Yeah, for sure. And the other one, it was interesting because what happened was Henry Cejudo hit Cruz, knocked him down, and Cruz looked like he was pretty much down and out. Cejudo swarmed him, hit him probably 10, 11 times. Okay. I know I forgot the exact number, but it was a double-digit number.
Yeah, gotcha.
And they called it, but Cruz was like, I was getting up. I was standing back up as it was being stopped.
Well, fighter safety is always the priority for the referee. It's hard to say. That's a good question.
Yeah. So who are some of your favorite catch wrestlers?
Catch wrestlers. As of now or before?
In general.
Well, of course, Frank Gotch. I did that Frank Gotch catch wrestling tournament 3 times. It was a great experience to go be in Iowa twice, and then the third time we did in Los Angeles.
What do you think of guys like, guys that are mixing it up in MMA like Josh Barnett and Sakuraba? Very
good people. I met Josh Barnett like 3 or 4 times. He's one of the nicest guys I met too as well. Sakuraba, sure. I'm very inspired by that.
Yeah, Sakuraba's the man.
Absolutely, yeah.
Do you have any MMA promotion that's like your favorite? Like, do you like UFC the best, or do you like maybe Bellator or ONE FC or one of the other ones?
I think I like Bellator better because a lot of inspiration there, and it's very, very good talent too as well.
I like the fact that they have some kind of weirder matchups in there, like when they had.
That's what I meant to say. That's what I should have said. Yeah, I'm sorry about that. Yeah, that's what I thought. That's what I meant to say. Yeah, because they have different style matches. That's what I like, especially that tournament, that 16 middleweight tournament. It's very good to watch. Is it welterweight or middleweight?
I mean, I think they've had more than one. I know they had the one for the light heavyweights. Or no, that was a different organization. I think that was PFL or something.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I don't watch much MMA, to be honest with you. I mean, I'll watch a fight here or there, but I don't have time for it, and I don't particularly like spending my money on it. So, it's one of those things, but I do appreciate the sport.
Absolutely.
I just don't like how they treat the fighters. Like, you got Stipe, he's one of my teammates, and they're haranguing him to go against DC right now. It's like, we're in the middle of a pandemic. The gym's forcibly closed. What are you going to
do? That's a crazy matchup.
Yeah, the first 2 fights were amazing. I mean, I'm curious to see how the third fight goes. I think that Stipe takes it to him.
I'm actually also looking to see next week on Fight Night, Glover Teixeira against Anthony Smith. That's a good match. And actually, I don't know if you know, I fought Glover Teixeira back in 2003 Grappler's Quest.
Oh, wow. Hey, look at these names you've gone against. That's amazing.
Yeah. I'm very inspired by Glover Teixeira too. He's still fighting. He's probably about 41 or 42, and he's still on top.
For sure. As far as the matchups that you've had, who would you say is who'd you fanboy the most over getting to go against?
We mean, was I ready to go against? Dan Severn.
No. Which matchup was most special for you?
Dan Severn, definitely.
Yeah, Dan Severn. That must have been a really crazy experience to get to go against somebody like that.
Yeah, I had like about 8 months notice, and I was training right off the bat when I got the notice.
When you prepare for something like that, when you have 8 months notice, how does that change your preparation?
Actually, it makes me do a lot more conditioning and be mental about the opponent. Watch a lot of videos on them, and and do have a good game plan as well.
Does Dan Severn have a lot of grappling footage out there?
I don't know if I've seen much. I saw a lot of MMA footage.
Right.
You know, he also competed for WWE wrestling back in the day. I remember too, in the Attitude Era.
Yeah. Do you think that the grappling that we see in MMA is significantly different from the same people when they transition to grappling?
I think so. They stick with their same stick with the bread and butter moves too as well too. I mean, they try, but it's kind of hard to transition MMA to grappling. I believe sometimes too. I agree a little bit.
I always think it's really cool when MMA fighters put it on the line on the grappling mat. I'm trying to get Submission Underground to put me up against Anthony Smith. I don't think it's going to happen, but I would love that matchup.
I wish you the best of luck, Emil. That'd be nice.
We'll see if it happens. I mean, I don't know. We'll find out soon enough. But anyways, we're nearing the 45-minute mark. It seems like we've really covered a lot of topics. Was there anything else that you wanted to talk about today?
I'm good, Emil. Thank you so much for having me on the show.
Of course, just wanted to run through the schedule for the next few days for anybody that's still watching that is interested in tuning in. Tomorrow, Thursday, the 14th, I got Nikki Sullivan, who's an elite female competitor, coming on at 7 p.m. Friday evening, I've got Lance King, who is a Muay Thai coach at the Minnesota Academy of Mixed Martial Arts, and owns a record label and is a fairly well-known singer. He's coming on at 6:30 p.m. Saturday, I have Silver Fox, Karl Pravik. He's coming on at 1 p.m. Sunday, I've got Gokor Chevekian, 3 p.m. These are all Eastern Standard Time, by the way. Monday, Stefan Kesting, 5:30 p.m. Tuesday, I don't yet have it fully scheduled out, but we're thinking about bringing Avery Clements on from Jiu-Jitsu Times. That'll be later in the evening because she's in Australia right now. Wednesday, I've got Tim Northland, who owns the Midwest region of Fuji. He's coming on at 6 p.m. Thursday, the 21st, Jake Shannon is coming on at 6 p.m. Friday, the 22nd, Justin Rader, 10 p.m. Saturday, the 23rd, I've got Bob Bass. He's going to be coming on. I don't have a schedule yet for that. Anyway, thank you so much for coming on, Nick. Any shout-outs or anything else that you wanted to touch on before we cut the feed?
I'd like to get a shout out to my Taekwondo teacher listening, Master Farouk, and Master K, and all my friends on Facebook. I appreciate you guys listening to me and Emil Fisher Show. And thank you so much, Emil Fisher, for having me on the show. And have a good day, sir. Take care.
Great. Have a great day, guys.